So for the past few years, I've been using BlitzBASIC, specifically Blitz 3D and Blitz Max, to do all of my programming, but I've recently decided that I'm going to switch over to Godot, which has a more, well, it has an architecture. Um, BlitzBASIC, it didn't have any, it had very little architecture to it, so whenever you wanted to start a game, you actually had to spend a lot of time in, like, planning in order to plan out the architecture. You had to make your own class structures and stuff like that. Godot, you can just jump into it and, with very little effort, start making a game. But with Blitz Basic, there's a lot of setup. And to be honest, I kind of enjoyed it, but at the same time, it sort of slows down my workflow. And there have been a lot of instances where I just get so sick of boilerplate code that I just abandon project because I'm a terrible person. No. Um, but anyways, I figured since I'm leaving behind Blitz Basic, I'd go ahead and give it like a send-off by going over my past projects, finished and unfinished. So, the story behind Blitz Basic, my experience with it, it's actually the first, well, not the first, it's the first game development language I learned, but the second language. You see, I think it was in 6th grade. Uh, we were in the computer lab, and I just got bored one day and looked up how to make games, or something like that. And then I found a tutorial for Blitz Basic, and then I downloaded it on my home computer when I got home. And then, being the idiot child I was in 6th grade, I just refused to read the tutorials, and I just messed around with some of the example files, and then I just got bored of it and gave up. And then around 7th grade, I got a book that taught computer programming. It taught Scratch and Python. And then, Scratch gave me like the fundamentals of programming. Say what you want about Scratch, but it did give me a good start. And then I immediately learned Python. And then from there, I think it was the summer before high school, I started got back into Blitz Basic, Blitz 3D, and I started making games in Blitz 3D because now I know how to program. And then just after the years, I decided since Blitz 3D is using DirectX instead of OpenGL, I would move over to Blitz Max, which was using OpenGL, and it had more OS ports. And so that's about it. Now here we are today, and I'm abandoning Blitz. It's been a nice run. I like I liked Blitz Basic. It's very powerful compared to how simplistic the language is, but again, there's a lot of boilerplate that goes into it, a lot of setup. The thing I like about it is that everything is under your control, including most of the architecture. And the thing I don't like about it is that everything is left to your control. Like you have to build an architecture, and that's what I like about Godot. It's just it has that. You can just jump into it and make a game. But anyways, again, we're going to be looking at some of my old projects, and I figure since I started with Blitz 3D, I'm going to start with my Blitz 3D project folder, and then my Blitz Max project folder, and then I'm just going to go through all the miscellaneous projects I have on the side. So, let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with 2D collision test.bb. This is in Blitz 3D. Yep. Yeah, this is one that I talked about on my website. Basically, you gotta catch that pixel using your 1 pixel by 3 pixel paddle. You can maximize it to get a better look at it. I should probably do that. So the reason I made this game was to test out the rectangle overlap function. It's pretty much useless to use rectangle overlap in this example because you're just moving a paddle up and down. You really just have to check if the Y is close to the ball when the ball is on the same X level. But yeah, that's how I did it for some reason. It's also not a good game. Look at how many I'm missing just because the ball is so small and the paddle is so small. Alright, this one is 3dbasics.bb. It's doing things to my monitor. Well, you may or may not see a cube. If I press spacebar, everything starts flashing. Yep, and that messed up all my windows, I think. I actually don't even know if that recorded. I did that, I talked about that in my website, so if I see another one that I talked about on my website, I'm just gonna go ahead and skip over it. This one is aliens.bb. Alright, I reduced the volume on your end, but it's still pretty loud for me. Anyways, I remember this. Oh, oh boy, do I remember this. This one was kind of fun to make. So the music is something I got off of OpenGameArt. Basically, you have to kill 100 aliens, I think. I can't remember exactly. And, yeah. This is about it. There isn't really much to see here. I was going to add, like, a boss, maybe, but I just never got around to it because, you know, it's a really simple space side-scrolling shooter, and I didn't feel like it. Anyways, yeah, the volume is still really high on my end. That was loud. So fun fact, originally, I just got bored, and I decided to put the 1812 Overture in the music instead of what we have currently. So originally, it would take like a minute to load the game, and then you just have the 1812 Overture while you're fighting aliens. Because, you know, I just got bored. Anyways, that's aliens.bb. Before we get into this one, go ahead and enable debug just in case. Alright. Oh, I remember this one. We're not going to play it because it's not finished, but this is Box Game. My plan was to make just a game where you play as a box, and it's a multiplayer game, so I could invite friends over and have them play as boxes on their computers. And yeah, I just never finished it because I couldn't figure out networking. And yeah, let's see how much I did finish though. I'm curious. Let's go with one. Welcome to the box game. Click the screen to get started. And now it should open up a network settings box, I think. Uh, yeah, sure. Allow access, may as well. Um, Connection. Enter the computer name or IP address of the session host or leave blank to search. Yeah, okay. No games found. Name for new game. Just game. Name your cube. Cubey. Here we go. It's Cubey the Cube. Uh, what is there to say? I haven't even added controls yet, to be honest with you. There's literally nothing here. Oh, that was fun. This one is cellgame.bb. I think I might have a vague memory of this one and how bad it is. Alright, so seed. Let's just put today's date. I don't know today's date. It's, yeah. I'm bad with months, so I'm gonna say 7 maybe? 26, 19. I still don't know my months. Basically, cells, single-celled organisms, I think. And it starts to lag pretty quickly because of the number of things on screen. Each pixel has its own AI. So you can see already it's causing problems. I'm pretty sure the goal of this was to create basically species, artificial life, real evolution, where the organisms sort of change over time, and that would be represented by their colors, and eventually they would just branch off into different species and become hostile towards each other. And as you can see, we've already got so many cells that the game is at, I think, a frame per second. We're gonna go ahead and close out of this if it'll let me. Here's eatthedots.bb. So this is a tutorial actually. One of the things I really liked about Blitz 3D is that it had a bunch of really intuitive tutorials included with it. Uh, if I can show you really quickly. Yeah, here, basic tutorials. You've got 3D tutorials. Just a lot of cool tutorials actually. Samples. That's a folder full of samples. I could go on all day about that, but we're here to talk about my project today. Anyways, this is one of the tutorials, the result of a tutorial. And it's loading, I think. Okay. So, okay, that's weird. The text is flashing. I don't know if you can see this on screen. Uh, if you can't see it, then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the gameplay out. If you can, then I'll just leave it in. But, things are flickering. Did they double buffer this, I wonder? I don't know. But anyways, basically, Eat the dots, eat the green dots to go faster, eat the purple dots to die, press enter to start. Okay, thank goodness the game itself isn't flickering. Come to think of it, I might have actually remade this in Blitz Max when I was learning Blitz Max. So, there is actually a strategy to this game. You have to get the ones close to like the walls and the purple dots first, because as you go faster, it's going to be harder to oh fudge. Yeah, it's going to be harder to maneuver once you go faster. Anyways, that's eat the dots.bb. Again, I don't know if it showed up because it messed up my display. Uh, that's kind of why I don't like DirectX. DirectX does stuff like that, as opposed to OpenGL. Debug was still disabled for some reason. That's interesting. Oh, this one's interesting. This is explosions.bb. I'm pretty sure this is what I used to test out the explosions for aliens. Click to begin. Preparing. Burst rounded. More particles. Lots of particles. A lot of this code's disabled. Let's see what happens if I re-enable the code. This will take a second. Alright, I don't think I ever finished this. I was too bad at math at the time. So basically, I couldn't figure out the actual velocities of the particles to make them look good. But this is what I ended up with. Burst. More particles. A lot of particles. Spiral. More particles. Lots of particles. Random burst. More particles. Lots of particles. Random spiral. More particles. Lots of particles. Yeah, you get the picture. That's about it. Yep. Alright, here's gravity.bb. Graphics mode. Press enter to witness gravity. Gravity. Press 1 to reset green cube. So this is actually supposed to reset both cubes, but I'm bad at collision. So red cube is actually stuck on the purple cube. Yeah. Um, I'm not good at 3D, so this might actually have been one of the last things I ever did. Here's moveman.bb. Oh, it's dude man. This run windowed. Yes, please. Basically, it's just a dude walking around in a forest. It comes up again later. You'll see this again later, I promise. Here's Perlin.bb. I tried to make Perlin noise, but I'm bad at everything, and it didn't turn out good. And it looks like this. It looks like its own thing. It's not Perlin noise, that's for sure. It's something. I kind of like the look of it, to be honest with you, but it's not what I was going for at all. Here's SpaceShooter.bb. Give it a graphics mode. Basically, it's just a spaceship. I didn't finish. Yeah, see, unfinished space game. But yeah, I never got around to finishing this one. I just made the spaceship. It took me forever to make the spaceship because as you can see, I did every single vertex and every single triangle and every single vertex of everything. And it took forever to make because reasons. I don't know. It took forever. I remember the pain, sort of. And this is the end result. Just a spinning piece of trash. Oh, dude, is this what I think it is? No, it's not, because for some reason it's only the start code. It's only a little bit of boilerplate, and that's it. Oh, this is in another folder. Alright, here it is. Here's the actual version. Viewport Land 2. It's called Viewport Land 2 because it's the second iteration. Alright, I'm gonna go with 1. What are these interesting resolutions? For some reason, OBS has put it up in the top left. I'll fix that in post, but just let it be known that OBS is treating this very weirdly. Anyways, this is Viewport Land. The name came first, and then I got this weird text: "You awaken a world. You can see this world, but you cannot feel it. It's almost as though you've. It's almost as though. I can't read today. It's almost as though the world were a viewport. I called it Viewport Land, and then I just created the text secondly because viewport. Anyways, this is where I learned some stuff about 3D. Here's a sphere. It moves up and down. You can't collide with it. You've got some awful trees that look awful. You've got this cube that, like, rotates into the ground, and you've got another cube that moves. The physics here are awful because you can clip into things by them moving into you. You can jump. That's fun. There's this bouncy pad. Bounces you real high like. That's fun. The trees are randomly placed, I think. You can press C to open the crafting menu. I lied, there is no crafting menu. Press Z to be a wizard, Harry. That just teleports you to random coordinates. There you have it. A high quality game. Very good. There used to be head bob, but then I broke the head bob when I added jumping, so. Anyways, that's all of the Blitz 3D things in my Blitz 3D folder. Now we're going to move on to Blitz Max, and I'm pretty sure everything from this point is Blitz Max. So first, we have mazing.bmx. Notice a different editor. Uh, there are things I like about this editor, there are things I dislike. For one thing, when you get Blitz Max straight out of the box, the color scheme is different from Blitz 3D, and that was sort of annoying at first. For some reason, comments were yellow. No, comments were green, and strings were yellow, which is sort of backwards from what I was used to. Anyways, so here's amazing.bmx. Wow, it's unfinished. Yep. I couldn't tell you what this is. I'm going to guess that it's just a procedural maze generator, because I'm obsessed with procedural generation. Especially when the time this was made, I was absolutely obsessed with procedural generation. It looks like it might be, yeah, just a maze generator. Anyways, here's boids.bmx. So, if you don't know, Boids is just a flocking simulation, an AI of birds flocking. Boid standing for birdoid object. And I tried making my own boids, and they look like trash because I'm awful at everything. So this flock is following the red dot, and this flock is just its own flock. And since I'm bad at everything, they just don't really do anything of interest. They do this weird X pattern, and I don't like it, so I abandoned it. Here's eat them dots.bmx. So I'm pretty sure that this is literally just eat them dots from Blitz 3D I showed you earlier. Eat them dots by Turnavis. No, it's not. I stole it. Wants to change direction. Eat green dots to go fast. Eat purple dots to die. Wow. It's exactly the same. Whoa. The speed up in this one is very different. Whoa. I think it's because I'm dealing with integers and not, game over. This one has a game over screen. The last one didn't, I don't think. Yeah, let's eat them dots. That's eat them dots from BMX, BlitzMax. Here's highway.bmx. So you're the green dot, and there's a highway full of gray dots that moves around, and you have a gun. So basically, these dots are just randomly affiliated with each other. So if you shoot one, the entire gang comes after you. And they sort of like cluster together and form a mega cannon that annihilates you. There is a strategy. Notice you can move faster than them, so what you have to do is just fire a bunch of times, and then move before their bullets reach you. Fire a bunch of times, wait until they're in your line of fire, and then move before their bullets hit you. There you go. And if you want to make things awful for yourself, yeah, see, when I hit one of them, an entire group comes after me. And you can basically annoy everyone and get them to try to kill you. Although I would advise against that because they can kill you. I think. Pretty sure they can kill you. You can also just run out into the highway and start shooting in all directions. Dead. Yep. That one's kind of fun, I guess. Oh, this one's interesting. Here is randomanatomy.bmx. So, you can see here, if you look in code, you can see I have like organs, tubes, bones, and then skull, lung extends organ, heart extends organ, bowels extends organ, brain extends organ, vein extends tube, gullet extends tube, and then creature. This was supposed to be like some sort of complicated anatomy generator, and then my hope and dream was to eventually implement this into some sort of overcomplicated procedurally generated RPG game, where everything down to like the races and their anatomies were procedurally generated. This is what I get. There's a skull, some ribs, a spine. Press space to generate a new one. One hides the bones and you can see the brain. The brain, the bones, and whatever this thing is are the only things I actually got around to implementing. Because I'm lazy. This one's called Shoot Things Up BMX. Basically, you shoot things, and it shoots back. And it spews blood. The closer you shoot to its quote-unquote head, the more damage it does. You can see over here how much damage each hit is doing. When it says ouch first, it's me getting hit. But yeah, that's the thing. Going back to Blitz 3D, here's Goblins game.bb. This one's fun, actually. So basically, we have a group of humans who wander around, and they get attacked by goblins every now and then. They go over to the swamp and collect bananas. Because bananas grow in the swamp. And they stockpile the bananas here. And they wait for goblins to attack them, basically. If we wait long enough, the bananas will start to spoil, and then when the bananas start to spoil, they'll take the bananas, make seeds, and start planting them. Actually, from the looks of things, it might be broken. They're getting stuck on the bananas. This might actually be an earlier version of the game. And I don't know where a later version would be, so... Oh no, they're doing things. Right, it takes them a while to make the seeds. And now they're planting new bananas. And then more goblins come in. For the most part, they can overpower the goblins, but sometimes they can't. That's the most non-statement. I'm pretty sure they can only eat the yellow bananas. The yellow banana pixels. I think some of the humans have already died of starvation because the farm's taking so long to grow in. Yeah, I could watch this all day, but we're not going to do that. We have more important things to do. Remember how I said that we finished all of the Blitz 3D things? Well, apparently I was wrong. I have more of them. So, here's an interesting blast from the past. I once made my own game library of sorts called Platformation. And it's basically just a platform library, and it's awful because I'm awful at everything. And this is an example game I made for it, which I'm running in full screen again because I'm an idiot. Unable to set graphics mode. Thank you, I think. Let's try it with debug enabled. Here we go. So this is Platformation. Don't know what else to say. It has this really awful follow camera. And there's no limit on how fast you can accelerate. So you can just hit warp speed. Here's Cave Dave. Oh, this one's interesting. So I don't actually have anything in this folder. It's Cave Dave, the folder. Basically, my goal was to make a game about a guy in a cave. It's basically Dig Dug meets Bomberman. I never got to programming it, but we do have some sweet MIDIs that I got from a procedural MIDI generator. They're pretty sick. They're pretty sick MIDIs, dude. I'm pretty sure they're from CG Music. Yeah, that's some pretty sick midis. Oh, this one. This one's actually on my itch.io account, so this is Hive Mentality. I put data miners go away as if anyone's going to data mine my programs. Basically, bees. Oh man, the camera's so slow. So, what happens? We have each bee skips wings and wings. Uh, Basically, when they leave the hive, they come back in on the other side, and this is so slow, with water and honey. And then the bees can just drink the water and honey out of the hive. And then you can plant eggs in the water and honey. And they hatch new bees. And you can place tiles to direct their movements. One thing you can just do is just place a bunch of these ones that rotate when a bee goes over them. Place these ones that make them go down. And eventually they'll just start filling up the hive area. Trap them up here. Eggs. Oh no, I planted one in an empty comb. It's gonna die. It died already. That's sad. Oh no, it got depleted. Just this egg. So yeah, uh, there's supposed to be a really sweet MIDI, and it sounds something like this. Yeah, pretty cool MIDI, right? I'm pretty sure that one's from Abundant Music. Here's Firefly.bb. Oh, this is basically a really bad shaders test. The shaders are awful. And they're basically fireflies flying around in front of a really dark Blitz 3D logo. When I was using Blitz Max and Blitz 3D, I was absolutely obsessed with Blitz, to be honest with you. I used the logo in all of my projects, like all of my tests. I had Blitz 3D as my desktop background. It's a pretty good language. It's not what I want nowadays, but you know. Here's test.bb. Uh, yep. Really bad lighting demo. Just atrocious shaders. It's not even a shader, it's just a circle. It just cuts a circle out of a black square. Here's Manic Maestro. This was going to be a game jam submission, but I just never finished it because I'm bad at things. Basically, you have this maestro dude with arms that like jut out of his limbs for some reason every couple of frames. This is supposed to be a stage, but I cut it out poorly and it looks bad. Basically, you would use the number keys to play music. Yeah, that's about it. There's not much to see. Here's levelloader.bb. Um, yeah, just loads of level. The sprites are supposed to connect here, but I'm really bad at everything, and they don't work right. I'm pretty sure I just drew them wrong. Had I drawn them right, they would work, but they don't. I also think this was actually for Cave Dave. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I made the level loader for Cave Dave. Oh, this one. This is an abandoned Game Jam game. Disclaimer, this is only a prototype. This means that the game will be very short. Full version will be released on itch.io soon. No, it won't, because I abandoned it because I'm awful at everything. Click. You click the screen and it closes. That's fun. The music is by someone I collaborated with, and the sprites, someone else. Yeah. Yeah. That's a thing. I spent so much time in boilerplate and just setting everything up for the game itself that I had very little time during the jam to actually make the game, so that's why it's unfinished. Here's Sandstorm. So the story behind this is that one year I decided to make my own game jam, the Desert Jam, and I was working on my own submission, but then I stopped because I think my family from Pennsylvania came over. I can't remember though. I abandoned it for some reason. All I finished was the map demo. Basically, Sandstorm would have been you run around and like shoot bugs in a desert, and that's the game. I finished the map demo. So this is the cave. It generates a random cave. Sometimes the cave doesn't connect from bottom to top. Like that. Most of the time it does, but sometimes it's awful. And then you're supposed to fight. You were supposed to fight bugs in this cave in the game itself, but I never made the game. And then there's the city. These are supposed to be. The blue bits are supposed to be buildings, and the gray bits are supposed to be roads. Yeah. To be honest, I might use the cave generation again in the future. Because, it doesn't look that bad, apart from when it just stops in the middle. It's actually a pretty decent cave generator. Oh, this one. Oh, this one's great. This is shipgenerator.bb. So basically, hold on, it's in debug mode. If I take it out of debug mode, then I can go ahead and maximize it, I think. Or not. I'm pretty sure the executable can be maximized. So I'll go ahead and open that. If it will open. And nope, still can't be maximized. Basically, I'm gonna zoom in when it's in post. I'm going to zoom in on this, but basically, you know, Crypixel. You know how it costs like $20 for a procedural spray generator? I was like, no, I'm not having any of that, so I just made my own. It generates spaceships, and they're actually not that bad of spaceships, if you can see them. I actually used some generated spaceships for Planet Slayer, which is one of my itch.io games. Yeah, I used this one for the player. I think I used this one for the enemies. No, it's this, not this one. This one. Pretty sure I used this one for the enemies. This is a sword. It wants to be a sword. That's an interesting sword. This is a side-scrolling one. They all look awful. And this is supposed to generate like Space Invaders, but yeah, it looks like that. Looks sort of like a screaming face. Anyways, that's ship gen. Again, not that bad. Still use it from time to time whenever I need a spaceship. This one. What on earth is this one? Spleeb, murder everything. Oh. Basically, this uses my stinking platformation library. That's awful. Oh no. Basically, it was supposed to be like an action shooter, but never got finished. Oh, this one. Token based. So basically, it's sort of like Godot's structure. Like back in the day, I tried to make my own architecture that I could just reuse everywhere. Actually, no, I don't think I made it to be reused. I made it for one game. This is pretty much, this is pretty similar to Godot's structure. Like before I knew about Godot, I tried recreating its architecture for my own purposes. So needless to say, when I actually tried out Godot and found out how it works, I was pretty excited because it was what I was trying to create anyways. Um, yeah, it doesn't do anything right now. It's just the start of something. Alright, now we get into the fun part. These are games that I planned on dedicating months to, but then I ended up not because I couldn't do something. I hit some sort of roadblock, and and by roadblock, I basically just mean I got bored. Um, there was just something a bit too complicated for me, so I just gave up on it. Anyways, this is a game called Price of Progress. It's basically a strategy game where you have to dump chemicals, and all I made for it was the map generator. And if it'll run, yeah, you can see it just generates roads on this awful grass texture. These roads make no sense. Yep. Um, so if the roads in your neighborhood look like this, move. Anyways, that's all I have of Price of Progress. So here's another game called Cosmic Crunch. Basically, it's Nom Nom Galaxy but with cereal. That's the premise. Um, the only thing I got, so the roadblock with this one was I wanted to make it in 2D but give it a 3D look. sort of like Doom. But the thing is, I'm not good at that. I can't do that at all. And the roadblock, I tried to make like cube sprites with different rotation animation things, different frames with different amounts of rotation. And I could never get it to work because I could never figure out how to get the tiles to fit together. So I just gave up instead of picking a different approach or something. And the only thing I managed to finish was map demo, which procedurally generates a map. I finished it. Oh, it's over a year old. That's neat. That's neat. Anyways, basically, it just generates a map. Give it a second to load. Yep, darker is lower, lighter is higher. And, yeah, it's just a really pixely map. Very voxelized map. It would have been voxelized if I could have gotten the voxels to work, but, excuse me, I couldn't. This one, it was going to be a Game Jam submission. First of all, here's attribution. It uses a Kevin MacLeod song. Here's the attribution for it, so that Kevin MacLeod doesn't come and hit me in the shins with a bat. Anyways, so this was going to be a Game Jam submission. I abandoned it because A, I only had a weekend to do it, and a weekend wasn't enough for what I had planned. And B, because my family came over from Pennsylvania. This time, I do remember for sure that my family did come over from Pennsylvania. And I just figured I should spend time with my family instead of working on a game. That being said, I played Dwarf Fortress the entire time. So a lot of time went into the intro. It's not actually loading. Here we are. Lunari and War of the Shattered Moon. I thought multiple times about coming back to this and finishing it. It might be worth it, actually. I might come back to this someday and finish it. But for now, it's just not finished. If I do finish it, I'm probably just going to start in Godot. Go from there. Because Godot, again, is better. Alright, so you have the instructions. This is a mothership. It controls all units of its respective faction. When it's destroyed, the whole faction goes with it. This is a fighter. It is responsible for capturing and defending asteroids. It can also fire on enemy fighters during flight. This is a medium asteroid. There are also small and large. Once captured, they can be labs, strongholds, or factories. Larger asteroids are more productive. So basically, this game, it's one of those games where you have a bunch of planets, you send ships to other planets, and then each planet you own produces ships. It's basically that right-click to toggle only when right-click an asteroid to toggle function only when no enemies are present. Stronghold. Ships orbiting Stronghold will enjoy increased attack strength used to maintain possession in hostile territory. Factory churns out new fighters. Shift-click to change where new ships travel. Laboratory slightly increases global research speed. Best placed behind defenses. Best placed behind deep defenses due to their vulnerability. Left-click an asteroid to select it. Left-click another asteroid and half of the selected forces will go there. Left-click an empty spot to form an independent swarm. Left-click the asteroid again to cancel. Yeah, it's basically that kind of game. So we play, we see we have different factions. So the game jam I was making this for had a limitation where you could only use you could only use colors from a certain palette. on this screen, you see all of the colors I was allowed to use. So we have different factions, each with their own abilities. Basically, how the game would work is you can research either defense or attack, and your attack and defense will slowly increase based on what you research. And Earth has plus 20% attack research speed, Mars has plus 20% defense research speed, Venus has plus 20% combat research speed, I guess. Yeah, and then the Tech Cult has 10% for all research. If we select a faction, it just takes us to the main menu, because I didn't actually make gameplay. But yeah, that's the game. And it uses this cool font. This is my favorite font. If Windows Font Viewer will load. Yeah, this is Nexus.TrueText font. This font is beautiful. Don't use it for actual documents, but do use it for like titles of games and stuff, because it's really sick. I actually got this in a collection of clip art from a yard sale. That's a story for a different day, though. So this is Mitch the Music Bot. Basically, I just decided one day that I was going to go ahead and make a program where it procedurally generates piano music, but it's basically someone finding a piano for the first time and playing it. And it has like an intro and everything, and it's sort of stupid. It was supposed to be more complex and involve like actual patterns of sorts, like sometimes where he just mashes keys, sometimes where he presses random keys, sometimes where he goes up and down. But I never implemented that, so it just plays random notes. I'm gonna turn down the volume a bit just in case. Actually, no, I'll keep it up, and then if it gets loud, I'll turn it down. So let's get into it. Bit loud. Yeah, so you can hear. I don't know if you can hear me over the music. I'll turn it down a bit more. Basically, it's just an amalgamation of audio samples. Here it goes. It just picks random audio samples and then plays random notes with them. That's Mitch the Music Bot. This is puppetdemo.bmx. Basically, it's a dynamic character puppet thing. It's drawn horribly because I'm the one who drew it. It has a walk animation, an idle animation. Everything here is its own sprite, including the sword. The sword is independent from the arm, as you can see. The sword is spinning here just as a random test, don't ask. And here we have... It basically prints out the array of information that the character is currently using to tell where everything's supposed to be. This is the angles of all of his parts. This is the offsets, the coordinate offsets from where they're originally drawn. And this is just an array of miscellaneous data that each animation uses on its own. It has no real meaning outside of different animations. He also has an attack animation. So because of the way I designed this, I could instantiate, if that's how it's pronounced, instantiate, I don't know. Anyways, I could create instances of this and have multiple people, and my original plan was to make this a side-scrolling dungeon game like Adventure Quest World, but I just never got around to it because I'm lazy and because BlitzBASIC takes forever to make games. But yeah, anyways, that's it. That's pretty much everything I made.
Yeehaw!
So, while going over the video in post, while editing it, I realized I mentioned earlier a game called Dude Man, and I said we would come back to it, and we just haven't come back to it. Um, yeah, I had to dig that up, and here it is. So here's Dude Man, and we'll go ahead and run that. This is the first game I made to learn about object-oriented programming when I was learning Blitz 3D. So, Dude Man, written by Turnivis using BlitzBASIC, use was to move, escape to close, use the arrow keys to operate your slingshot. Should probably go ahead and put this, maximize this. Use the arrow keys to operate your slingshot, kill all of the evil monsters, click to begin. Run windowed. Yes. Alright, here it is. The arcade classic, Dude Man, with its procedurally generated trees. And it has a very distinct protagonist. Because of the way the collisions work, which is horribly, sometimes the bullets just go straight through the enemies. Anyways, I don't care anymore. Game over, click to exit, final score 5. Alright, and then there was a Dude Man 2. So the goal of this one, you have independent limbs, and your limbs can get shot off. If your legs get shot off, it reduces your movement speed. At first you start crawling, and then I think it immobilizes you. And then as your arms get shot off, I think it decreases your fire rate. And if your torso gets destroyed, then you just die instantly. And it does have a high score, as you can see. This is stored in a file. So this is the highest score I have achieved while playing the game, apparently. Was to move, arrow keys to shoot, cube by health, cash displayed in upper right, health displayed in lower right. And this also has sound effects. I'll go ahead and preemptively turn it down a bit because I know it's probably going to be a bit loud. They're just randomized sound effects from LabChirp. Oh, I forgot about the swarm. So every now and then it starts up the swarm. Oh, I don't know why sound isn't working. It appears as though sound just won't work for Blitz 3D today. Must be a Windows 10 problem. Anyways, so basically the swarm increases the spawn rate for a while it's active. It doesn't have trees though. Trees were never added. You can see I almost have enough coins. Yep, I have enough coins to heal now, though I don't need it. Go ahead and get hit just to show you what it looks like. So you see my arm starts to go dark. Pretty sure they like aim for your arms before they go for the kill. Now you can see that my arm is destroyed. I have a way worse fire rate. Go ahead and heal. Get my arms back. Oh no. They have such a high fire rate. They're swarming. Now I'm getting them. I don't remember correctly, but I think the more you kill, the more that spawn. I can't remember exactly how I programmed this. It either increases the max number the more you kill, the rate at which they spawn the more you kill, or both. But trust me when I say you're not missing out on the sound effects. Anyways, I'll just go ahead and show you what it looks like when they pick you apart. Dead. Yep. And that's Dude Guy 2. Don't know what else to say. It's been a nice run with BlitzBASIC, but I guess it's time to say bye. Bye, Blitz. It's been nice using you. You're a nice language, but it's current year.